I am so thankful for the Pure Flix YouTube account because they have very slowly been uploading some of the films, the Great American Family films, to YouTube. And last week, and I discovered this yesterday, they uploaded the first Ainsley McGregor Mysteries film, and I was overjoyed. And I've now watched it, and I can say that it's definitely pretty good. This was released in 2024. It's directed by Martin Wood. It's written by Jim Head, based on the series by Candace Havens. And we have a cast including, of course, Candace Cameron Bure as Ainsley McGregor. We also have Robin Dunne and Aaron Ashmore and BJ Harrison. Great cast and performances. Interesting enough narrative. I will say it was quite difficult to watch this and not compare it to Aurora Teagarden. It's not completely the same, and there are some things that I will praise for that along the way, but I think it's pretty safe to say that they created this because of the success that Candace Cameron Bure had with Aurora Teagarden when she was with Hallmark. But for the most part, apart from one aspect, it does feel very different. But there was one aspect that I think was a bad choice because it's basically inviting viewers to compare it to Aurora Teagarden. And I think for the most part, it's probably best to try and separate them and, of course, judge this on its own. Ainsley McGregor is a former criminologist. I love that. It gives her a very good reason to be interested in murder cases, of course. And at a friend's winery, she finds a dead body. And, of course, throughout the film, she tries to find out who did it, who was responsible. It's a pretty classic murder mystery of this kind. And, of course, I'm not going to give anything away, but I will say the narrative is well written. It's a believable story. The pacing was a little slow to begin with, but I don't mind that too much because I feel like we did need to set up the Ainsley McGregor series. I don't know how many films they're going to do, but I felt like giving us a bit of time at the beginning was worthwhile as long as the pacing is fine in the future films. And once the mystery actually started, it was really interesting. I was keen to find out what had happened, and over time we do get bits of information, and in general I was quite happy with the narrative, so no problems there. Ainsley McGregor as a character is likeable. She seems to be a well-written character. I think there's scope to do a lot with the character. As I said, I don't know how many films they're planning. I think there's at least another couple. In fact, I will confirm how many there are. I know that at least one has been released this year, and as far as I can tell, there's going to be at least 3 of them, and I think the second one has recently been released, but correct me if I'm wrong on that. And I feel like there is a lot of scope for this character to be involved in a lot of different cases. I think she's an interesting character, and I am keen to get to know her more, to get to know her personal life better. So that worked as well. The other characters we meet, well written, good performances. Obviously, Candace Cameron Bure gave a good performance as well. Visually, it's appealing. The camera work is good. We have a lot of bright lighting, which is something that I always like. So the only real issue is the pacing at the beginning. But as I said, because we are setting up a series, I don't mind that too much. The only decision that I think was a bad decision, now these are based on the books, so maybe this is in the book series, so fair enough. But Ainsley is part of a book club. And as soon as we had those book club scenes, I just instantly felt like we were in an Aurora Teagarden mystery with the Real Murderers Club. It just felt so similar. And I feel like, and this is maybe me putting words into their mouths, maybe they don't care about this, but I feel like they want to try and make it as different as possible from Aurora Teagarden, so it doesn't just feel like they're trying to recreate that success with a very similar model. Of course, that is what's happening here, but I feel like having that just made it so easy to compare it to the Aurora Teagarden films and to compare Ainsley McGregor to Aurora Teagarden. But everything else, I think it was easy to feel like a separate film series, so that wasn't a problem. But and I have to say, I don't have a problem with the book club aspect. I think it works quite well, and if you've never seen Aurora Teagarden, it wouldn't make any difference. But I just think that makes it so easy to compare them, and I don't think that's the healthiest approach, but I think it's inevitable. I think if you're a fan of Aurora Teagarden and then you watch Candace Cameron Bure playing, all things considered, so far a pretty similar character, she's a headstrong female with an interest in crime, I think it's difficult to separate them straight away. But hopefully over time, as they do more and more of these films, the distance between them will get bigger and bigger, and that's hopefully what will happen. But either way, I really liked the Ainsley McGregor Mysteries, A Case for the Winemaker as an introduction to the series. The narrative worked well, the characters were interesting, the technical aspects are all absolutely fine. Looking forward to the next one, really hoping it becomes available in the UK as soon as possible. And if you haven't seen this, I thoroughly recommend it. I'd love to know what you think of it, both if you've never seen Aurora Teagarden and this is your first look at Candace Cameron Bure playing this kind of character, but also if you've seen the Aurora Teagarden films, did you find it easy to separate the two? Were there too many similarities? Do you think it's going to take a bit of time to watch Candace Cameron playing this character who is very similar in a very similar kind of story, getting used to playing a different character or getting used to watching her play a different character? I don't know. I think it's going to take me a little bit of time, but as I said, there are enough differences that I don't think it'll be much of an issue. And either way, judging it purely on its own, I thought Ainsley McGregor Mysteries, A Case for the Winemaker, was ultimately a pretty decent film.